Good morning, peoples and sheeples. Hopefully some freeples. Probably just some tadpoles and a couple little bean poles and maybe some actual poles like polskis. No. Um. Anyway, I'd like to start this video with a simple postulate of social fucking reality. Uh, Old guys really shouldn't have fucking ponytails with horribly overgrown undercuts. That's one postulate of reality. But the one I wanted to actually mention. Filling oneself with great amounts of bullshit. No matter how much bullshit you pack into your brain, does not equal truth. Bullshit plus bullshit does not equal non-bullshit. Two wrongs don't make a right. With that out of the way, I wanted to take a nice frontal assault right into the heart of bullshit. So let's take a trip back roughly 2,000 years, shall we? And see if we can't figure out through nomenclature and not his story some possible alternatives to the status quo of history. Hold on one second, please. From the store with ingredients for this blueberry lemon bread wonderful stuff. I probably should have asked what the hell to call it before I came back here and told y'all about it. But, you know, you don't get to eat any anyways. Haha. Oh, what do we call that stuff, baby? You want to sit down? Gotta get the technology studios out the way. This is my wife, Kira.
Sorry, y'all don't get the makeup today and the nice hair did.
Yeah, we chilling, you know, it's the weekend. Come on. What you gonna do? So back to the frontal ahote. Okay. Nobody's standing on my chest. I don't know why I made that weird noise there. Back to the frontal assault on the status quo of history. Regarding 2,000 years ago. We've made a few side blows here and there at it. But I want to say some things that will promote some fairly easy research, okay? So, try to get past the silliness of what you're about to hear and what you have heard thus far, naturally. We're going to do Akkadia, Acadianna. So, you've probably heard of, like, the Merovingian bullshit, right? Well, Morovi was a real guy, and I'm not trying to dissect his lifetime. I'm trying to dissect the greater scope of history. Okay, and you have, through the riddle of salt and pepper, okay, which is that most of who have been deleted by history were those who dared mix races, okay? And you have a time in which the Kaiser was dead, known as Julius Caesar at this time, assassinated. This was a new thing. Caesar was very long-lived. That's been deleted by history. It is at this time, at this council, that they decided to write all of these things which you now consider to be Roman records. Okay? There was, and you can trace this through some recent research that's been done, a certain princess. And before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and just read, or attempt to read, this strange language that comes out of my freaking fingers that somebody who thinks of himself as a man actually. Baby, do you think a man would ever criticize another man's fingernail quality?
If he were flaming, maybe.
It's got it all bubbled up inside. Can't stop talking about balls. Okay.
Do your balls hang low? Do they wobble?
Time in a nut, can you time in a boat? We're not random, silly people, at all. What?
Who?
Me.
Okay.
Jenga?
Yahtzee!
Oh, yeah, Yahtzee. That's what I was trying to think of. Yahtzee. Exactly. Makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Back to the notes! Okay, so. You have some interesting homework to do, okay? Did you know there was a black Roman general named Maurice? Key part of a certain story. He was of Ethiopian descent.
A black general?
A black? He's black? Okay, sorry. A black sheriff? Anyways.
Sorry. I digress.
We're men, manly men. We're men in tights.
Tights.
With manicures. Okay, yeah. So, I would like to, and I wrote this down just for shits. What is up with this? Okay. If you can't fight the hair, free the hair. Free the hair. Just threw my ponytail holder at the screen and didn't even hit it. Oh yeah, I'm on a roll today. Head him up! Move him back. I don't know that fucking word. I used to like mumble along with it when I was little. Because, yeah. I was little watching fucking black and white TV. Yeah, people believe that when they see this fucking face. I was back when I was this big, sitting in front of a tiny, tiny TV, watching tiny, tiny cowboys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Thumb.
Science.
Brilliant.
Yes. This first line that I wrote down is cracking me up. It's just becoming more and more relevant as this progresses or digresses, whatever the fuck it's doing here. I would like to reassure everyone that I am, in fact, completely insane. But, unfortunately for you, that doesn't really prove anything.
That damn thing.
Have you ever observed the world you're living in? Have you ever seen a platypus? You know, beaver with a duck bill and spider fangs on its feet. That sounds like a perfectly rationable at the judicial system of science. Yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna pronounce something like George Bush and then give up on the sentence. Oh yeah. Leadership. Reading. Following directions is also a trait of leadership. People in non-leadership positions never seem to realize that. And that is very abstract in general. I know. Jeez. So anyway, what the hell was I talking about here? Oh yeah, leadership.
You were reading. You're supposed to be reading.
Notes. Yes. See, whether I'm crazy or not is regardless. I'd rather be crazy than completely fucking ignorant. Fair enough. But, you know, thinking I'm crazy is just a conditioned mind's mechanism by which to dismiss uncomfortable questions that I might provoke. Now, go back to sleep, dearie. Everything will just be fine. All you need is happy thoughts and you can fly. Science. Just put on your status quo pajamas and your whitewashed sleeping cap and snuggle up blissfully between the sticky sheets of ignorant, false security. It's not an intellectual exercise I'm putting forth here. This is not a drill. This is not meant to be taken lightly. It's meant to be taken and ran with only by the right people. And if you're sitting there thinking you have the right to judge me, you are not the target audience. You tiny, you insignificant. You've never had an original fucking thought in your life, so why would you be of use to me? You have to be born again to live forever. So, anyway, back to the notes. This is not a drill. You are encircled, ensnared in a web of lies, and soon to be enslaved without even recognition of this fact. And the chances of actual annihilation by Russia of this country are going up every day. So, by all means, keep believing everything you heard since the Cold War ended. Everything you thought you knew better than your parents about. Just keep believing all that bullshit. Meanwhile, the crazy people are gonna just hang out in reality. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk about with that little bit of pretext and mind opening, you know, hopefully the stupider people have stopped the fucking video by now and moved on to, whatever Kim Kardashian's doing. So, speaking of the people who committed genocide, so let me just tell a little story, and you can expect to see this story revisited soon. I promise. There was once a warrior princess of Persia who liked to sneak out and get into trouble. And, well, she had been made by her high priest. This is going to sound ridiculously familiar once I get into it. And don't discount that because, Satanists are very clever. Okay? Okay? It's easy, I'm good. Alright. Sorry. Not. So during this period in which Caesar was assassinated, and there were kingdoms of the Gentiles, there was another kingdom that wanted to rule both and considered themselves the only rightful rulers. Right? Well, as the First King's Congress, which was a unified world body representation that was trying to figure out who the next Caesar would be. Oh, yes, they're horsing around. Really need a freaking. Oh, I just like wash my hair. It just wants to go everywhere. Oh, yes. Oh, that's much better. I'll do the rest of the video like this. How about that? That work for y'all? Okay. Anyway. Did the idiots press stop yet? Okay. It's a funny thought, really. You just do something silly right before the crucial, important information, and you really don't have to worry about much. Except for like a few people that are sitting there, like, I'm insecure, I have a small penis, but you're crazy. So I feel better now.
Get a manicure.
I will when the fucking rain lets up enough for me to go start tearing apart cars again. Believe me, these fucking things will look a whole lot better. Anyway. So, congregation assembled. But a certain incident happened that caused a decision to rewrite history. You see, while they were forming alliances to auction her off to the highest group of collected bidders and whoever would represent them and become Kaiser. See, what people don't understand, even this far into what I've just said, is that even the kings of the Gentiles were considered goyim. To you know who. Not Voldemort. Well, Pootlemort or whatever. Voldemort? Putin on the Ritz. Okay. The modern royal houses that were in Europe, and this percolated the war between royal houses across Europe that has been going on for centuries. Okay? And it's literally from Khazarian controlled territories like Russia all the way pushing through Europe, pushed us into America, basically. Okay? Now, during this particular night, the princess snuck out and met a boy. He was a sailor. He was one of the very unlikely contenders for the throne. He was the king of Gaul. And oh, did he have the gall to impose himself as a contender. That's where you get the term Gaul from. This particular incident. Find some cartoons in there for him. So, the princess has left the building. Anyway. Oh, actually, Did I just commit blasphemy? She's a queen now. Wedding. Yeah, that one. Happened. No, it wasn't a metaphor. It's funny how everybody who wants to see their own thing about the Bible takes whatever things literal as metaphors and metaphors as literal that they fucking pick and choose. You can tell what's meant to be taken literally, what's taken to be metaphor. See, metaphors usually use things like and as. And when they talk about like a little boy and a little girl and people doing things, not metaphors, literal. Because you don't understand it and your brain has to make it a metaphor, doesn't mean it didn't fucking happen. Too bad you don't have anybody who was there that you could get such information from. Anyway, so before I get back to this, I kind of just wrote a couple things down just to remind myself of what I was zoning out on earlier, just remembering. It led me to remember a whole bunch of friends of mine that died. And so try not to picture any Disney movies when I say this, because Jerusalem didn't look anything like an Arabian capital. It was a temporary capital for Rome. And I had 3 ships docked in a northern city. Something with 3 syllables would be in the middle, start with a T. That's about as close as I can get. I guess I'd probably wind up being wrong, and that would be, useless. I don't mind making wrong guesses as long as I can predetermine in a split second that saying something wrong will lead somebody to some very productive research. You know. So, what I remember is we had very strong genetic memory. And we spent this one night together. And the air was as fucking putrid as you could imagine. It smelled like vomit mixed with mold from the inside of a grocery AC refrigeration unit. Like red, nasty slime, sludge mold, giant compressor. Only where it's just really cold and damp all the time. That's what this fucking memory smells like. She smelled like lavender. And I remember the root words that the words that I thought this might have been the root of, as far as the hidden story being propagated for a while and then being deleted, okay, but still having evidences in language. I called her Ducha. Ducha. The like Doochia. Only like a sh, not a ch, like we pronounce it. Nothing weird about this at all. I know. But it was because of the just the difference between day and night of how life with her and without her is. The reality of that was a metaphor. The stench, her sweetness. Well, we had a one night stand, and that kind of put a little bit of a bounty on my head. And I think there might be a little bit of a mix up between headlessness and crucifixion. And as far as one crime being used to justify both executions. You have two men mentioned in the Bible, supposedly John the Baptist and Jesus Christ. Okay. But you have them being killed in completely different ways for essentially the same thing. No other reason is really given, except for some mystery about a royal daughter, some princess. There's an Aussie of all people who's done a good little documentary on this. He doesn't have all the details right, of course, because who the fuck could? You're mixing bits and fragments that survive with bits and fragments that were intentionally written to explain those away. It's a very effective strategy, and it's very evident that this strategy has been employed. The only mystery is how could you decipher such things, or should we all just give up on it? And what everybody in the back of their minds has been praying for is for someone that remembered it. Back to the notes. So let's just kind of go on a hypothetical storytelling type thing. Because, you know, do you remember what happened each day in your childhood? I've been brainwashed my entire life to forget this shit. I have to load these memories the way you load a different slide in a Viewmaster, practically. And I have to face the spiritual protections, that is, the demons that wanted these fucking things buried as secrets in the first place. I have to fight them just to uncover these facts. Lazarus, come forth. Now, if you were a princess, a warrior princess, had commanded armies, had ran an intelligence service, okay, a warrior princess who ruled Persia, who learned very well from a very powerful matriarchal mother, too powerful. Um, if I were to identify her, you'd say, well, that was a him, so I'm not going to bother at this point. Alexander. Ra. Not not a bully. Well, she had, she had the necessary equipment. But long story. Long story. Long. Well, I don't know how long. um, that's fun. I'm a little too Scottish for my own good. You know, dick jokes crack me up. Okay. Let her know how to stay warm in the winter, Sonny. Okay. Moving on. 30 minutes. Yeah, get to the fucking point, Sean. If you were not a dumbass and you were this girl and your man about to be killed. What would Mary Magdalene do? WWMMD? First of all, I don't remember a whole lot from the crucifixion. It certainly wasn't called a crucifixion at the time. I remember the word for it right now. I might revisit that and try to write it down. In addition to brainwashing, you have like Mel Gibson movies that also kind of make this shit hard. Although, if you were wondering about the bitch in the black cloak, that would be evil queen, bitch goddess, who was sort of trying to retire. Kind of a revisit of the Horace the Younger situation. But anyway, this is all good information. Don't complain about the random shit. Fucking research it. See if you can figure out what I'm saying. It's for your good. Well, see, if I were this girl, and just speaking as, a human with a brain, if I were this girl, I would give my man some medication. I might even bribe an officer to give him some more. And these roles were reversed shortly after this. And if I were a secret goddess, perhaps, known for miracles weren't really that uncommon at the time. And I wanted my boyfriend to die and be resurrected. And I'm not saying this is the case, but there has been some arguments towards that being the case. So I'm gonna work within those arguments. What if the crucifixion and resurrection at that point was drugging and survival? What if? Does it change anything? Only if you delete the rest of the story. Here's the rest of the story. In order to resurrect the king of Gaul, who had snuck out and knocked up the princess of Persia, thereby creating what you now know as duches and duchesses. Sweet, ain't it? Sweet as a douche. It's horrible, but yeah. Why not? Could be. Fuck, I don't know. Didn't look it up, but it's funny. It's funny. Back to the notes. It was so funny, I fucking forgot what I was saying. Well, what you would have to do, I didn't even just read anything. Put those fucking down. Just using them as a prop at this point. What you'd have to do. Spit it out. Science. Leadership. I don't know if I want to say this. They might have this fucking shit written down somewhere, and they might be just like, okay, this guy's just pretending to be crazy, and they might come and fucking get me. Better send a lot of fucking people. I'm kind of looking forward to that, but that's irresponsible of me. A little bit. Kind of hard to be afraid when you've seen what I've seen. And with that self-reassurance of sorts, you'd have to change his name You want to resurrect somebody who wouldn't be easily forgotten. You, as the princess, as the head of an intelligence service, would see very easy solutions to this problem. Okay. You guys are going to say that your family member, friend, all you guys, family, friend, this guy, his name is Lazarus, and y'all are going to beg me right in front of the Pharisees to go resurrect, to go call him forth. Good little plan, wasn't it? And that's where the story actually starts to get complicated. See if I got any more of that in the notes that I decided were worth telling you. Okay, so no, that's pretty much it. But just in case I started sounding too incriminatingly competent, God forbid. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to switch around the two deaths. Put Lazarus in the middle. Then go watch Aladdin. I really can't say much more. I have to be responsible and restrain my sane spurts. Science. Yeah, I wrote that down. It was funny talking. I wrote it down. What you have is a story of an international nature, and also just when tracking these things down, you have a bunch of stories of international nature consolidated as local. You know, much like the Crimea guys were local. You know, just local. Best way to pull off bullshit is saying that everything that's happening happened locally. You can make up fucking people fill in the gaps and make everybody in that local area think they have all the stories they need to figure out who they are and where they came from, when really they haven't the slightest fucking clue. That's why the stories repeat in so many places. It is simply the most effective strategy possible to disperse truth against not only many different cultures, but against the possibility of reincarnated memories and against the possibility of genetic memories. See, right now, if they hadn't done what they had done, my memories would make a whole lot more sense. Brilliant fucking strategy. And frankly, a lot of it's actually been done since the 80s. I've had more than one indication that my birth was well known about by the United States government. I'm surrounded by military. Let's just say my wife's childhood story involved a kidnapping and a sort of adoption by someone who, well, let me see if I can relate him to a TV character for easy and non-incriminating understanding purposes. What's the fucking guy? Picture of the guy. The show is Heroes. Claire's dad. Oh yeah, yeah. And hi, Dad. My dad, of course, watching too. Hi, you big bald bastard. Get down, ye bald head. Stop playing that fucking flute. I'm kidding. Kidding. Gotta give you a hard time. Come on. After this long? Just whatever you do, don't start laughing too. Because, there's enough of that going around. Earthquakes. Big wars. Yeah. So that's it. Bear in mind that this, whatever you want to call it, media empire, the Khazaria Empire, thinks of the kings and rulers of the earth as mere goyim. And you can see this evident in the general way they refer to the presidents of the United States unto this day, especially if they're black. Shameful. Now see, the Gauls, the original Germanics, same people. Same fucking people. Stop believing lies. That's all they are, lies. Completely interracial as a society. Did not give a fuck. Real Christians, of course they were completely interracial. Real Christians knew who John the Baptist really was. Real Christians, interracial, of course. I can't think of any reason why people would want to kill them all. Can you? That's just ridiculous. The first thing you're going to think of when you realize that the truth is the truth is, how is it this fucking hard for anyone to have come up with this theory until now? Well, such things were prophesied. Such ignorance and blindness was prophesied, was meant to be. It could not be any other way. Sorry. Some things just gotta be done. And frankly, meeting your expectations, in my opinion, would be really fucking boring. Like, okay, now that I've done with the point of this video, I'm just going to say a little hypothetical thing, kind of on the lines of the perfect circle parable, the imperfect circle. If you haven't made it to that parable, you're not patient enough, and you need to fucking try to get through my videos in longer duration and actually make it to where I actually say something that's fucking worthwhile. You think I'm just going to give this shit away? It's not like I'm making money off of it. Well, at least I can do is test your patience. One sec. So, if I was to meet everyone's expectations, let me just list a few things that would deprive me of. Maybe that'll be easier for you to comprehend, since everybody's so selfish and they have to think in terms of fucking what they would have to be without just to be able to have something realized. I would be deprived of working on my cars. I would be deprived of pulling over on the side of the road to help other people work on their cars. I would be deprived of true empathy. I would be deprived of a lack of hypocrisy in judging others. I wouldn't want people to call me a hypocrite and actually be justified by a technicality. Therefore, hi. You haven't endured shit. spoiled little children. What are you going to do to make up for what you've allowed to come in this place? Have you even bothered to warn anybody? Hey, Russia might be kind of telling all of its people that they're going to come fucking kill us all right now. You don't just rally up the troops to the point of muster without letting loose. That's how warlords get fucking killed, you know? I mean, you just don't do it. By all means, fail to comprehend someone and call them crazy if that's what your little insecurities tell you need to do to be more comfortable in reality. Wake the fuck up. If you know your ass from a hole in the ground, please like this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and feel free to go snoop through other videos where I have more little pieces to this puzzle hidden. Thank you very much. My next video probably won't be 47 and a half minutes. So, cheers.